it's like the danger of metaphor. I mean, I was raised at a time when Clement Greenberg still had a lot of sway over painters, so the dangers of metaphor were really apparent. And in this one, it's really, there's a dim reflection of the sunlit world and life, but really what's being focused on is death and last year's leaves. So it puts this duality between life and death as well as space. So I got nervous, and I focused on the light and life, and I moved quickly out of this trough between the dunes, right down it, and you just keep moving them ahead, and you really can project yourself into this reflected space pretty effectively. And then I got tangled in the brush where it comes out by the lagoon. And I wound up in something like a late synthetic cubist space, which was really ensnared. And I really was stuck for a couple of minutes. And, you can see the water reflecting on the other side. So I got snared in this sort of retarded pictorial space. And then later I was to be seduced by the water. It's just like I really couldn't help myself. It's been a long time since I've had psychotropic experiences. And but I dallied by the water for a while. But I was really too nervous to try this new skill to cross the water, so I took a canoe and I sort of semi-powered it with mirrors. The plan was to go to the beach and make it all the way to the lake. It seemed like a good plan. And it really allowed me to pass quickly over the water. Till I hit the dunes and the grass on the other side. And it was really different. It was out in the light. There wasn't the sort of fear of metaphor and poetry anymore. It was really hot this Labor Day weekend. And so I made myself a path, up the path, toward the beach. And I came upon this sign. On the other side, it didn't say nothing. So we kept going. Toward the dunes, up the dunes, up to the top of the dune, overlooking the lake. So it was really pretty great. I really had a very good time. I highly recommend it. But when I got there, it's Labor Day weekend, and the beach was full of revelers. And I just didn't feel responsible exposing them to this unfamiliar technology. And so I just sort of stopped here, and looked for a while. And, I didn't want to make a lot of long explanations. And I headed back to Oxbow in my canoe. And so, getting back to Smithson, here he is drawing at the spiral jetty. And I guess for me, really, the whole thing with Smithson's work, not the sculptures, which are handsome but empty for me, but is the writing really gives this sort of funny opportunity to use all the literature that you may have at your hands to make this really interesting spin on stuff. And I guess the lecture is just a way of sort of saying thank you. So that's it. I'll tell my mom, she'll be so pleased. I can take questions if you want. That's good. Thanks for coming. Huh?
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you want questions?
Yeah, what are you going to do with the photographs, the slides that you took?
I don't know. I printed them. They print really nice. And I thought about, this is somewhat rough-hewn, and I have the same problem I had in high school with book reports. I don't use my notes. And I was thinking, actually, I took this bookbinding class. I was thinking of making a book out of them and maybe writing a firmer text and opposing it. And I really did have so much fun sort of imitating the mirror travel in my own rather more theatrical way than his, that maybe I'd have a good time imitating Michael McClure or Gary Snyder or, you know, something along those lines. So I'm not sure.
What it makes me think of, well, the way that you've done it is you're following something into, you know, you're moving forward in this way, but the mirrors are looking backward. So there's this really lovely parallel with the idea of looking into history to find somebody to follow after or something. Really nice.
It's pretty destabilizing. Actually,
Yeah.
it was pretty interesting. It was really hot too, so it was really good exercise. And I have a lot of history there too, so it was like filled with my own knickknacks. And I think the Smithson really does allow you to sort of, I think one of the things for me is that being engaged with the studio is really a way of looking backwards and forwards, you know, and you sort of, I'm adjusting work as I creep forward at an ever accelerating pace at this point. So that sort of span is really good. And it was also good for me to look back into my own personal history and try and unravel where it started, you know, and how it was assigned a value, and who I was reading and thinking about at the time. So, more questions? My son Gus and I are thinking of recreating the monuments of the Passaic on the Chicago. He did a report on the Chicago River portage through the plains into the Illinois, into the Mississippi. So we may do something along those lines coming up.
Nice. For the spring series.
There you go.